Hey everyone, how are you today? Let me know where you're watching from. If you've just joined me, we are doing a live here on Essential Stencils page. And I'm Sharon Hankins. If you've not met me before, I'm from the blog I Restore Stuff, where you can follow me or on any of my social platforms for upcycling tips on painting furniture and home decor, which is what I love to do. So today you're watching a live on the Essential Stencil page. And hi, Christy, how are you? And we're going to be doing some fun projects, sign decor around the house that it can be for any season, really. And I'm going to be using 3 different options on these boards that I found at I'm in Australia, so I found them at our local Kmart, but you can probably find similar items in the USA. Hello, everyone's jumping in now. Dorothy, Elisa, Cheryl, hi Jean. So you can probably find some similar in the USA. Otherwise, I do have an Amazon affiliate link there to my, I've got a whole wish list or a supply list, I like to call it, on my Amazon shop that has got, stenciling and sign making supplies. And so I've got things like this, things you can stencil on, or tools that I might use in my stenciling projects so that you can look at that if you want, like things like staple gun or, I don't know, all sorts of different stuff. So you can have a look at that. It's in the link in the description of this live. So in a minute, Essential Stencil will be posting that with all the links to all the stencils that we'll be using today also. So, which speaking of, we'll be using a few different mini sets today, and a couple of these are actually on sale. So thought I'd let you know that too. Hi Rhonda, how are you going? Thanks Dominica, I can always count on you for sprinkling our lives. Thank you so much. Guys, you can hit that little share button if you wanted to share the live around and sprinkle it. Yes, Diana, Mother's Day list. That's a great idea because if you have not ordered something or told your family what you would like for Mother's Day, if they are looking for hints, then you can use my code IRESTORESTUFF and get the link for the whatever stencils you like and send that on as the hint list, because it doesn't matter if it comes after Mother's Day, doesn't it? It's Mother's Day here in Australia too on Sunday, and I'm actually doing a Mother's Day market stall in the park literally across the road from our house. So I'll be setting up there. That's on a Saturday, so of course we're not doing a market stall on Sunday because we'll be busy being mums and so on. So I'm making these, and I could probably sell these at my market store as well. So I'm going to be busy painting up a lot of things today. So thanks for joining me. Here are a couple of the stencil sets that I'll be using today. This one's called Words and Numbers. That one is in the on sale page. I've got the link right there in the description of the live. And, well, this one's not, I don't think this one's on sale. Oh, yes, it is. It is. This is on the sale too. Mardi Gras. Thought I'd do a fun Mardi Gras one, but not necessarily in the Mardi Gras colours. We are going to use the one that says, let the good times roll, because I think that'll be fun for one of these signs. I'm also going to be using the home 6-pack, and we'll add one of these onto our wood signs. And I'm also going to be using transfers that I've cut up and pre-prepared earlier. And so from the Vintage Spring Stamps set. It comes with a set of 2 sheets of transfers. So there's lots of different ideas you can do today, and you may be inspired with some of these designs and think of different colours you want to use on these. So I'm just going to see if I've got my live here so I can find your comments. There we are. Oops, what's going on? I'm trying to find it. There we go. So Essential Stencil has popped the links there for you in the pinned post, the pinned comment, so you'll see that. And so anytime while you're watching the live, if you think, okay, I need to go and order those now, because there's one of these, I can't remember which one it was, I think I put that on there in the pinned comment, that there was only 5 left, the words and numbers. So if you did want this one, it's got numbers. I'll show you that. There's only 5 of these left. So if you've got a cart already started on Essential Stencil page, don't forget to use my code or just use that link that's right there in the description. But it's got 3 sets of words and numbers. So these are letters of the alphabet. That's that fun one. And then you've got numbers, and then we've got actual words. So we'll be using the words today on my fun decor sign. So let's get started painting some backgrounds on these, because we'll need to do that as well. I'll point this down. You've got the words and numbers, Bobby. That's awesome. Hi, Vicky. Thanks for saying hello. Hi, Melissa. Thanks, everyone, for saying hello and for watching. All right. Oops, I can just pop it up a little bit slightly there so we can see what we're doing. Although I know you guys, sometimes the comments for you go across the work that we're doing, so hopefully that's all right. We've got my code there if you need it. Okay, so we've got 3 different signboards, so 3 different options. We're going to be doing some backgrounds on these today too. So I thought I'd start with a bit of painter's tape, and we'll create a bit of a background for our first one. What are you guys all working on today? Let me know in the comments. So I'm going to just make a bit of a decision here. Let's see. I'm going to use one of the large vintage stamps to go on one of our signs, and I think I liked these 2 with the colours of those in them. I've cut them out already. If you've never used our rub-on transfers, they are so easy to use. I do like the pink peony flowers, and these have got some nice pinkish colours in there too. So I might do that, and I'm thinking of using one of the greens for the background here. And I've got Fusion Mineral Paint again in the colour Everett, which I think looks really nice with this green. So because the outside of the stamp, the outline of the stamp, the vintage stamp, is a cream colour, I want a dark colour to kind of offset that cream to sit in the background, and so the cream will stand out. So I don't necessarily want a white or clear background. So let's set our stamp aside, and well, actually I'll use it here because I want to make sure that I'm going to have enough room on my stamp for all around the edges, and I want to make sure it's around about the same kind of distance as the edges will be for this. So let's just, I'm going to pop that right there, and then I'll remove that, and we've got a nice edge. Now, just got to make sure, I didn't bring my ruler out or measuring tape or anything. I want to make sure that that's actually straight, and I might have to just slightly tweak it. There we go. I'm assuming that the board is symmetrical, so we just assume this, don't we? Oh, thank you, Debbie, for letting us know what you're working on. And Mother's Day sets for Mother's Day. Great. Yes, please let us know in the comments what you all have been working on. So I thought I'd use this dark green Everett to kind of match in with those green colours on here. So this is a Fusion Mineral Paint, and I do also, in that link, I do also have a link for Fusion Mineral Paint, and if you use my code IRESTORESTUFF at the Fusion link, you will also get 10% off your Fusion paint, which is amazing. Okay, so using a nice flat kind of brush, it doesn't really matter, but I want to go this way in the direction away from the tape so that I'm not going to get it leaking or bleeding under the tape, because if you drag your brush this way, there could be a chance, because I'm having a lot more paint on my brush because I'm painting, not stenciling, there is a slight chance that you will get a little bit underneath there, and we don't want that bleed through. The other thing you could do, and I forgot again to get my offloading brush, cardboard, piece of cardboard to offload onto. So I'll just grab a couple of those and stretch myself over there, and they will come in handy. So the other thing that we could do, so this is a nice deep, almost like an olive green. I'm just going to dip a little bit on my brush there and actually use a dry brush to just make sure I'm getting the edges of this before I just then go over the entire lot. And just that way it makes sure that I'm not going to get the bleeding underneath. Just by using a small bit. There is another way of doing this also, is just by painting some clear on there first and then going over it with you, and that sort of seals that taped edge. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and just paint the entire board, and I can come back onto those green bits. Oh, lots of questions, and my comments are kind of flying a bit too fast for me to stop and read them. Lisa, no crafting today. Oh no, that does not sound good. Hope you're feeling better soon. Oh, I do like this dark green colour. I've painted furniture in this colour. If you want to have a look at some of the furniture pieces I've painted in some of the fusion colours, you can look at that on my blog. It's IRESTORESTUFF.com, and it is absolutely beautiful. I've done a sideboard kind of furniture piece in this. Now to do these end bits, it is an end grain, so if you're painting wood signs and things, you'll know that when you've got raw wood, there's sometimes an end grain, which is the grain is following this way, and so the end of the grain, it actually usually turns out, if you're staining, for example, it'll turn out a bit darker. It's just got all the different grains of the wood, so it's a little bit trickier to paint sometimes, and I might have to turn this around to face me just so I can see that. Make sure I've got it all sealed, because those are the most open, those ones at the end there. So, if you've just joined us, welcome. Let us know, what are you working on today? What are you crafting? Are you stenciling? Are you painting furniture? Are you painting signs? Maybe you're sewing. Maybe that's your crafting today. Love to know. All right, so I may need to do a couple of coats. I'll have a look and see, but while this one's drying, we'll go on with our next signboard. Good evening, Norma. Oh, it looked black at first, did you say? It must be showing a little bit darker on the video. Yes, it's a dark green, like an olive colour green. Speaking of Olive, our little puppy, that's her name. Olive is in her crate. She just heard her name, so she's opened her eyes, but she's in her little crate down beside me. Otherwise, she can tend to be a little bit demanding. All right, so I'm going to just leave this half a second. I could use the hairdryer, but I think that colour is going to look great as a background for that. Excuse me, for that. And what I'll do with the top part, I could actually stain that or something. I'll think about that and do that later. But it is a good idea if you are doing this, if I do decide just to leave it as that one coat, which I think I will, because you know what, I am just going to put the transfer right over it, and it has covered quite well. The Fusion Mineral paints do have really good coverage, so that's one thing that's great, and they go on so super smoothly. So it is a great idea, once it's sort of mostly dried, to remove your tape while the paint is still just a little bit wet. Now that is actually peeling some wood off onto my tape, so it's quite raw wood, and it's a very soft wood. I'll show you. I don't know if you can see that at the back of the tape. It's got these little bits of wood still in it. Now that probably might not have happened as much if I had de-stickied my tape, and by that I mean sometimes I'll just de-tacky. I don't know if that's even a word, but I'll pop the tape onto somewhere like another surface to make sure it's not so sticky, or sometimes on my apron. But now we've got a really nice, clean, crisp line at the top there, ready for our painting. So I'll set that aside, and we will do that in a minute because that can be drying while we do our next board. And let's have a think about what we're going to be using for this one. So we've got our, where is it, our words as well here. And then I've got our Mardi Gras one, Good Times Roll. Excuse me. Oh, you're all so busy. Bobby, you're doing signs, antique clothespins, transfers, turning bottles into lamps, and you did some boys. That's cute. My show is in a little coastal VA. Is that Virginia? Village. All right, so let me show you some of the ones in this Mardi Gras set, and these are on the sale page as well. Let the Good Times Roll, that's the one we're going to be using. And then it's got 6 in the pack. So we've got this fun jester hat. I think that's what I would call it. Not sure what other names they have for that. In every packet of stencils, you'll get a little instruction. Look, this is the fleur-de-lis. That's kind of cute as well. That would look good for any season. Mardi Gras mask. We've got, oops, which way does it go? Let's Get Cray. For Louisiana. We did live in Louisiana at one time of our married lives, early on, before kids. Happy Mardi Gras, there you go. So that's what we've got in this. I'm going to be using this one. So I'm going to think of some nice bright colours. In the example here, they've got some of those traditional, I guess they're Louisiana kind of colours, New Orleans. I might do that black background and then have some bright to stand out on that. Now, I could go all the way up, or I could do that half masking tape kind of a thing on there, which I think would still look good on that one. Maybe we'll do this one fully painted. So I'll do this masking tape idea again. Now I'm just using the same tape, and I'm going to have a bit of a measure around here. And so because there's a bit of wood in that same piece of tape, it is less sticky, so it probably won't affect this board so much anymore. Pam says, I love this project. I'll have to get that pack for upcoming gifts. Yes. Yeah, Rhonda says you don't have the Mardi Gras stencils. There are a few good ones that you can use for any season, like this one. I feel like that's kind of, you know, it could be rock and roll, it could be jazz with the saxophone there, it could be party, you know, anytime. And so you could do sort of retro or 50s theme, as in like the colours and that kind of stuff. You can think of all the different fun colours you could use for that. All right, different colour brush now. And I'll just use this one. Now this time I'm just going to see if we can get away with putting the black straight on there. I've got a great big bit of black on my paintbrush, so I'm going to go down. See how I'm not touching the tape just yet? I'm just getting most of the paint off my brush first. Just wearing it down there. Now I'm going to come up, mostly I've got the paint away off the brush, the majority of it anyway, and I'm just going for this way on the tape. You don't want to come back this way because we don't want to risk having that black bleed underneath the paint. And again, we've got the end grain on here, so whenever you're painting end grain, you've got to make sure you've got that all covered. And I'm just going to have to look around. Oops, I've got paint on my arm. Just rested my arm on the paint pot. All right. So now I can probably just grab another bit of black and drag that down. So I'm starting away from the tape. And now I'm going up to the tape and just gently going away from the tape. And I want to have nice, long, smooth strokes going down. Oops, I nearly got on the other side of the tape, you know. Whoopsies. Okay, so that's, because it's on raw wood, this board is raw wood, it soaks right into that board, and I feel like it's got pretty good coverage with that black also, so I may not need a second coat on that either. So there we've got that one. All right, now I'm going to pop that in a plastic bag, so if you're new to painting either signs or furniture, if you've got the possibility of using that brush again, don't put it in the water just yet, because we don't want it to be too wet. I just pop it in a little plastic bag. These ones are just recycled from bubble, what do you call it? Bubble wrap. It's not bubble wrap, it's the bubble packaging. Got a little piece of fluff that just got on my board right then. There we go. Okay, so again, we're going to just remove this tape. Let's see how that line went that time. Yeah, it's pretty crisp also. So that's not too bad. Nice and crisp line at the top there. Whoop, it's a bit bright. And let's see. I could dry that one off too, but let's go ahead and paint. So we've got two boards now. This one's in Fusion's Everett, and this is coal black. And now we've got this one that I'm going to put these words on, and I think I'm going to paint the entire lot. And let's go a nice cathedral taupe. We're going to do a nice light colour this time. This is a beautiful tanny taupe colour, very popular for furniture at the moment, and also for using it as a stain wash. So I often use my Fusion paints as a wash and now I didn't get the top off. And now it's going to be, this is how I get the top off if it gets stuck. I slam it down exactly on its end. Usually it will be nice, and sorry if that's really loud. Oh my goodness, I usually do this before I go live, because otherwise, you know, it takes, it gets annoying to have to wait for me to try and open up my paints. So stay there, guys. I'm not going anywhere. I'm just grabbing a knife to just release the top a little. I thought that would work. Oh my goodness. You can sometimes, what happens is, because Fusion's such a nice strong paint, if I don't clean the tops of my jars properly, it will stick and stop your jars from opening up. Oh my goodness, this one's really, I might have to go a different colour. This one is really giving me trouble today. Sometimes also, if you do use, you know, some warm water or something similar, it feels like it's loosened up, but my, it's giving me a little bit of trouble today. Yeah, the jar openers. Someone just mentioned the jar opener. I do have one. Oh, I just was almost to the drawer and it freed up. Lucky my kitchen's just over there. Yeah, I hate it when that happens too, but at least you know it's really good paint. It sticks really well. It sticks really well to furniture. So yeah, look, see this? I've got all this at the outside. There's lots of tips on making this easier process for jar opening, and one of them is to put some saran wrap, or saran wrap, I think you call it. We call it Glad wrap because that's the brand, on the top before you close the lid, and that kind of helps. So it's got a lot of build up from stuff being on the outside. I'll have to do a cleaning job on that later. Oh, glad we got that opened. Okay, so this is the colour Cathedral Taupe. It's a beautiful, nice tan taupe colour, and it actually blends right in with the board. So Could even do so many different ideas. If you've watched my lives the last couple of weeks, we've actually done some blending kind of things on boards. I know Amanda does some beautiful blending with stains, so there's that idea as well. And this has actually got really nice coverage too, so you can see that nice top colour. Yes, Debbie, soak in hot water is a good idea. Sometimes the brand new bottles are a little bit tricky to open too. I haven't found it as much with their new lid option, but some people are finding that tricky also. Yeah, but usually if you keep it clean, the lid clean, which I'm really bad at doing that. I should actually decant the paint into another vessel too before I paint, so that you're not. So if I'm doing it this way, I'm putting, the brush back in and out again, and it can just not contaminate, as in make it dirty, but it can just compromise the quality of the paint just a little bit. But if you just are pouring it out, then you're not actually putting a brush in and out again. So, all right, so I'm going to go over these sides here. This is the trick of trying to get the entire thing painted. Who likes that idea of just half painting, or, doing a colour with the tape on it? I really like that. And then we can stain the top if we wanted to with a bit of a wash or something similar. These edges are all pretty much the end grain of the wood, so it's kind of hard for me to see and then show you at the same time, but I think we've got it. I think we've got it happening. So then I'm just going to get this bit, and it's always tricky to get around this hole without having the paint all dribble down on the inside of it, so you just have to have a lot less on your paintbrush when you're doing around those holes. And this has got a slightly beveled edge on it, so I'm making sure I've got all of that down here, I've got all this up here, and then I might do this side first. So I've got something to grip onto here with my thumb, and then if I grab this, get this side, and then I don't have to try and lift it up while the paint's still wet. So there's another little painting tip for you when you're doing your signs and you want to do the edges. Always have a part that you can grab onto before you finish it off, and then, because it's sitting on the ground and you get paint everywhere and it sticks to the table, and so that's just one of my tips there. So I've got all of the edges painted now. If we did need to, we could go back over that. So now I've got my last bit of paint, and it's just painting off the edge, not dragging it over and getting dribbles all down one side, and then nice smooth strokes all the way up there. So I go off the edges either side, and feather it out. So now we've got a nice taupe colour, and I have to remind myself to clean that lid off later. Another plastic bag here for this brush. Thank you, Joyce Ann, for saying welcome to all the newbies here on our live today. Welcome everybody. If you've never stenciled before, we're showing you a few different stencil ideas. I'm going to be using that one on here, so I'll have a think about what colour I might like to use. Well, I can see my edges here, just needed a little bit of tidying. So let's go back to our first one that we were working on. So we've got 3 different design ideas for these kind of, what do you call these, serving boards or paddle boards, I guess you could call them. So this is the first one I painted. I'll have to try and shift this now without getting paint on my fingers. And we'll let that dry. If any of them aren't quite dry, I do have my hairdryer here that I could use for them. Yes, and if you are new here today and you've not seen one of our lives before, actually that does feel a little bit, just a little bit tacky. I'm just going to plug my hairdryer in back here. If you're brand new and you've never stenciled before, we at Essential Stencil go live every weeknight, 7 p.m. CST, I believe. And I'm just one of 5 of the ambassadors that go live regularly. So yes, you get to see and learn all sorts of tips and tricks and ideas and inspiration. They do look like cheese boards, Arlene. All right. So there is our nice, beautiful Everett green colour, which I thought kind of looked pretty with the leaves. So it's got sort of some of those tones in it. Now we're going to use, this is our transfer, so they come in a sheet of 2. I've cut out my transfers already, but they come in these 2 large sheets. And so yes, we've still got plenty of those in stock, so if you do need some transfers, these are a single use item, so whereas the stencils you can paint and use over and over again and clean them off, and whereas the transfers are actual prints that get printed onto your surface, and so you can only use them once. So you probably might want to add a couple if you need to your cart when you get them. These are just gorgeous. So remove the sheet, the backing sheet. Going to make sure I've got it up the right way, so it's going to be hanging this way, and so that is the way we should go. Oh boy, I've got to just hold this so that I might have to go this way, so I can look down, and from a bird's eye view I can kind of see a bit more clearly where the edges are and get it in the center as much as I can. And once it's down, you want to leave it down. You don't want to shift it. So I'm just going to now secure that, and now it starts to stick to the edge, so I could probably try and lift that up, but it's going to have adhered slightly, and now we want it to adhere fully and get a really good grip on there. So we go over it with a transfer rubbing tool, or you could use a store card or any kind of tool that's got a nice flat surface for rubbing it on. I'm going to go all over it, and then I'll sort of work a little more closely to the end. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous vintage stamps. Who has the vintage stamps and loves these transfers? I know that they've been very popular. When they first got them in, they sold out pretty much right away on these ones, these designs, and so they just look amazing. They take your signs to another level. All of the transfers do, really. You can stencil, mix them up with the stencil sets. So when you're removing the plastic now, just look out for little edge bits that might be sticking, or even in the center. It's not always the edges. Just got to look out for any bits that might be still sticking to the plastic. You want to just lay it back down and rub that away. I'm going to try and get it so that I can pull it down like this. Feels like it's pulling it up, but it's actually not. I'm just going to go slowly, peel it up and put it back down again. Oops, this bit's stuck. So every now and then it'll just stay on the plastic, and you want to just lay it back down and gradually remove it. So a little bit of effort for a gorgeous, gorgeous result. Yes, Bonnie says, Vicky, Sharon lives in Australia. I do, in sunny Queensland, although it's not so sunny here. So we're on the other side of the equator, and so our time zones are all different than yours, and also our weather patterns are completely opposite to yours. So we are we're in fall right now, about to hit winter. What's the month? We're in May, June, July, August is our winter. So we're in our fall season, May, and the weather is starting to turn cool. But I would describe our weather here in Queensland as very similar to Florida weather. So it never snows here in winter. In Queensland. It's the further south you go, because we're south of the equator, the further south you travel, the more likely there would be snow. So I'm in the north part of Australia, so we never get snow. Whereas down south, they get snow up in the mountains, not so much in the cities. All right, we're nearly there, folks. Sorry it's taking a little time. Sometimes they take just a little bit of patience to kind of get them all going. I'm just sort of pulling and dragging. Just don't want to leave any bits behind. Ta-da! So then I'm going to smooth that over with my fingers. And I do love the way that green on the outside and even underneath sort of gives a hint at this green colour here. Now, the other thing I wanted to do was put one of these stencils from the Home pack. The Home 6-pack has 6 stencils in it, sorry. Home Sweet Home, and this is the one I thought we could just add a simple word home up the top here, and then we could just glaze over that. And it's got you've got your home set here, we've got This Is Us, our life, our story, our home, we've got our nest and our happy place. If you haven't got this set, it's a really great basic set to I also thought Let's Stay Home could work as well, but it will just go a little bit further down there. So if you did that in like a bright white down here and then a green up the top, that might work too. Even just the word home, but see it kind of comes off. I think just the simple home up here would work great for that. Let's get a little bit of this tape here because I don't want to accidentally put it on that word. And I will use that green Everett colour. And you know what? I'll actually tape this down a bit here and on the other side. And instead of using my stencil brush, I might just actually use the brush that I had here. Let's see how that goes. I do prefer the stencil brushes, but instead of, I don't know, I'm being lazy. Instead of actually making a whole new, washing out another brush, I thought I'd do this. So I'm just going to be very careful and probably a bit more pounce it because I'm only using a tiny bit of, hopefully it's not going to bleed through because the stencil brushes are so much better for this. Olive, you know who she heard, it's that time where the mail comes. I don't want to be painting this. This is probably a really bad idea. It'll give you an example of why you need stencil brushes. This is me being lazy and not wanting to wash out another stencil brush. I do have plenty. I could have just washed it out. But I'm going to be doing a lot of signs today. Ready for our Mother's Day stall that's on Saturday across the road in the park. Across the road from where I live. So I'll literally be pulling a trolley out of my garage, driving it down the driveway and across the road to the park with all my signs and stenciled signs and decor and things in it that I'm going to be selling. All right, let's see if that worked. Let's see. Olive, it's okay. It's okay. Thank you. Okay, just peeling that off now. Oh, it worked. It's okay. It's all okay. All right, so that one is ready to go, except I might just, seal that over with some sealer, and then that one will be ready for selling. And I probably need some string or something to hold up the top there. So to clean my stencils, if I was doing this normally and not on a live, I'd just pop that in and rinse it off right away, immediately. However, I'll save that to do later. Now let's go on with our black one. Now this is the one we're going to do our Mardi Gras sign with. I love that. I do like how that turned out. This would even look nice with a tan colour stain on the background as well. You could do that. We may even do that with this one. Let's see. I didn't bring one of my stains, but we could just make it a black stain using the coal black. So to make a stain or create a stain for something, and this wouldn't matter too because it'll go, even if I do get it on there, it's going to wash out nicely, and it will not matter that that's black, if you kind of get what I mean. All right, so to do this, I'm not even going to open up my paint pot because remember I've got this brush here that's got a bit of coal black on it. Well, I can instead, I think I've got clean water in this part of here. I'm just going to dip my brush in the water, swish it around a bit, and that's actually just going to be enough stain to just stain that top part of the wood. How easy is that? So to create a stain wash, you can see now the water's turned black in there. It's literally just putting on a stain. You can use a cloth, which I've got a cloth handy if I need to wipe off any excess. And we're just going to stain the background. Now it is going over into that black there, but because it's black, it should just dry without it showing like it's got an extra colour there. So let's just go across this way first. So I'll show you in a minute. We'll just see if we can maybe wipe off any excess. Again, I'm just doing these end bits. The end grain is going to probably hold the stain a bit darker. Hitting the ends. Debbie's asking, what do you use for brush cleaning? So for most things, I'm just using water-based paint, so I just can rinse it out with water and it comes out pretty well. But sometimes when the paint dries a little bit, so with some of my brushes, if I've been stenciling any length of time, it will tend to dry out a bit, dry out the bristles a bit. So hang on, I might see if I can just show you that. So I'll use a brush soap. So Fusion has a really good brush soap. Okay, so I'm just making it a bit lighter by just using a wet cloth and wiping it off a little bit. Yeah, the brush soap will really get the paint out of the ends of your bristles. So sometimes when you're painting furniture, especially like I had those bigger brushes, the paint will start to get a bit, creep up the brush and get a little bit grungy at the top there. So there we go. If you want it lighter, you just remove a little bit more. But there we've got a nice stain on the top of the board. So grab that hairdryer again. Yeah, tone on tone look. That's a nice way of putting it, someone said. Yes, Sherry, I like the washed out stain look too. And you can do that with any of the Fusion colours. It's a water-based paint, so you can just do that with any of the colours. I noticed I just missed a spot right here, very bottom of the end. Make sure I didn't miss anywhere else. Excuse me, I've got a little frog in my throat today. While I'm here, this is the one we painted in that taupe colour, so I'll just dry that, make sure that's thoroughly dry while we're at it. So we've got 3 different boards today, if you've just joined me. 3 different looks. So here's the first one. We've got this black one here, and then we've got the chalk one down there. All right, so for this one, we've got our home stencil pack done. I was going to use the Mardi Gras set, and it's got, we've showed that before, 6 different ones there. This one's also on sale. And I love this, let the good times roll, because it doesn't have to necessarily be about Mardi Gras. This can be for any season, really. So thought that'd make a great one. Just reusing the same tape again, because it's got less sticky on it, and so it won't peel the paint. I want to use some kind of bright colours. I've got a couple, I've got a red, I've got this azure blue, I've got a gorgeous yellow. What do you think? Some bright colours? Let's do it. Probably we could do the saxophone in the yellow and the mask in the yellow, maybe the words in the blue, just to make it a bit fun. Okay, so I'll do the blue first. Well, it's kind of an aqua blue azure, it's called. So I guess that means, what does azure mean in French? Does it mean blue, or does it mean like, see, I feel like it's that. We've also got a bright red here. They would all look great together. But I feel like these two, the yellow and the blue, would turn out, would go a bit better on on this. Okay, I'm going to use a bit of cardstock here as my masking, I think. Instead of taping it, you could tape it if you wanted to. Actually, it might be better taping. I'm going to tape this mask. Talk about masking, that's funny. We're masking the mask. Masking the mask so that we don't get paint on that, because we want to do that a different colour. So if there's anything that you want to do a different colour, you just mask it off with some tape, or you can use the cardstock like I was going to and just hold it there in place. This is a little bit close down here. Put that one there. And where's my tape gone? A little bit more on the saxophone on this side. Whoop, it's gone too close. We don't want to cover our letters because that'll give it a fuzzy edge. All right, I don't have to do this part of the saxophone, just the parts that are close to the letters. And I'll leave this one here too, I think. Oh, yeah, let's tape that as well. Little exclamation marks, or, I don't know, fireworks or something. It's a fun design, isn't it, this one? Let the good times roll. Michelle, no, Essential Stencil doesn't sell these boards that I'm working on, but I do have a link in that description or in the pinned comment there that takes you to my Amazon affiliate supply list page. And I've got some different boards in there that are very similar. This one, because I'm in Australia, you don't have them at the same shops that I have them at. So, but you know, your craft stores like Michael's and those may have them. Hobby Lobby. Sherry, tape is our friend, absolutely. Oh yeah, you could do the dots in the yellow as well. These dots. That's a good idea. Let's do that. Do that. I will. Thank you. See, this is why I've got you guys watching. Send me the inspirational ideas. So this is what I was talking about before. I don't know if you can see my apron down here. I'm just going to place the tape on the apron and tear it off. And then it gives a little bit of a less tackiness, so it doesn't stick as hard down on the surface. Okay, so we're covering up those dots. I've got paint on my brush. In fact, I've just offloaded as much as I can so that it's not all heavy in there. Let's see how that looks on this. Oh, it's going to be very bright. I love it. So this is the colour Azure, A-Z-U-R-E. Lynn says I reuse my tape too. I know, I feel like a Scrooge or something for reusing tape, but it's literally just right there. So why just why tear another piece off when you've got some that'll work just fine sitting right beside you? I just tape it to the table whenever I'm finished with it and then just use it over again, especially if I'm doing lots of pieces like this, like I will be today. So that bright blue on the black is going to really pop nicely. Got a bit of tape, looks like it's coming over the top of my word there. Just doing a bit of a swirling motion, not fully swirling, you could do that, but it just, this wood has a little bit of a grain in it, so I want to make sure I'm getting right in that grain, and the grain goes this way, so some of my motions that I'm using might just swirl it a bit more in the direction of that grain. Okay, adding a bit more to my brush now, but I always offload as much as you can. I made a heart on my board. I don't see that. Maybe because I've got it upside down. Did I make the heart with the tape, maybe? I love the blue colour too. I really don't use it a lot, but for sign making, it's great. I haven't used it a lot for furniture. I definitely have painted a bedside table one time in this colour. In fact, if you look on my blog and you go to IRESTORESTUFF.com, if you use the search bar there and type in the colour, the fusion colour, you'll get all the pieces that I've painted in that colour. If you use that, it'll probably come up with a blog post where back when this colour first became available years ago, that I used this colour on a little set of bedside tables, and I think I even stenciled some numbers on it down the side. That was way before I had any essential stencils. So we're going to be doing this set in a minute, which actually it does come with numbers. Numbers would be cool on this kind of a board as well, just to use there. Okay, another little dip in the pot. Did someone say on your offload board? Yeah. Oh, okay. So I made a heart on my offload board, did I? I missed it. I've probably wrecked it now. I'm only catching like every second or third comment, you know, guys. So sometimes you were replying to other things and I'm probably totally getting it off the mark. Anyway, and then I go back and I read comments afterwards. I'm like, oh, they weren't even talking to me, or or similar. All right, so we've got that bit done. Now I don't want to take the whole thing off just now. I'm going to leave that there. Azure is the name of the colour. Yes, thank you, Rhonda, for adding that in there. You guys are very helpful to each other. Okay, I forgot to put my black brush back in its plastic bag. I'm going to put my blue brush up the end there, just in case I needed to use it for anything else. Now we're going to just take the tape off those sections that we want to paint in the other colour, which is bright yellow. Thought that'd be fun. I'll just pop this here for now. And then we're going to just have to put these bits of tape on the other sections that we don't want. So we don't want it on the words. And because, you know, I don't want to obviously put tape on wet paint, but I'm just going to lay it on top of the stencil. So you see the top, the stencil, and then there's the wood that's in there in the letters. So the tape will only go on the top of the stencil. It's not actually touching the wood and the paint on the wood, if that makes sense. So oops, let's bring you around here. Actually, this one's a bit longer. Well, we'll use our tape until it, oh, hang on, we need a little bit in that corner up here. That's a tricky bit to tape over. Kind of need one the right size. Oh, tricky. Tuck that around. You can just kind of, yeah, it's very close. So the mask is very close to that letter, whatever it was, D. And then down here, on our saxophone, we want a nice yellow gold saxophone. Reminds me of my son. Our oldest son played saxophone all through school. He's very, very good at it. The tenor saxophone. Loved being in the jazz bands, and I miss those days. Anyone else's kids play instruments? If they're really good, just help them to persevere, because it does pay off. Making great sounds. Okay, so now we've got this section here, this section here. We'll grab another little brush for the yellow. Oh, time is getting away with me today. Welcome, Gayla. So Gayla's new here today. Thank you so much, everybody, for saying hello and welcoming. Thank you for your love. Look at this yellow against that blue. This is my offloading board, where I'm just going to offload my brush and also works it into the end of the bristles. So let's just do the mask up here. We may need a couple of coats on this yellow because it's one of the colours that is highly pigmented. Oh, you know what? I haven't taped off that bit there. Let's do that. This one, because we're doing our dots yellow as well. It's a highly pigmented colour, so sometimes you may need to go over it with a second coat, although I can see that it's not too bad. I'm just doing a little wriggle on this one instead of big swirls, but I guess swirling is working okay too. Whatever works, hey? We all have different methods of stenciling, and if you're brand new, you'll see that each of the ambassadors has different ways of stenciling and different preferences. Look, I haven't even put my brush back in yet, but I may just need to now. Yeah, just running out now. So we'll get another dip of yellow. Yeah, if you want to follow me anywhere, you can follow my page, IRESTORESTUFF. It's at IRESTORESTUFF on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube. I've got YouTube tutorials on furniture painting, and all my sign making stenciling videos are on there as well. So any of these lives, I put them up on my YouTube channel to show everybody there. So if you subscribe to my channel, it tells you when there's a new one added. All right, coming back around just to see if I can give this an extra boost of colour while it's pretty much dried. Okay, I think we're ready for the big reveal. And then we've just got one more board to do. I didn't realise we were running out of time here. But that one shouldn't take too long at all. But oh, I love that. Those colours are really nice and stand out nicely, don't they? Let the good times roll with the stained top. So if you missed that little bit of info of how we stained the top, you'll get to see that on your on the replay. Now don't forget, guys, if you join in the conversation here, we give away prizes at the end of our lives, so there's that excitement. All right, so we've got a nice we could even do a separate color up here too. You can take that off and do another color. I may even do that. Let me just do the stencil first this time and do the color later. I'll tape that off, maybe do a different color at the top. What color should I make this? I did bring some others. I could just do a nice black words. That would stand out, or that dark green again. Maybe even whatever color I do on here, I would do on this part of the board also. So I could just make it black, or we could do green. I feel like maybe the black and taupe might be okay, because that will just it'll kind of go in any home, won't it? So let us use another color. These are small words, so I'm just going to use one of the smaller brushes. It's the 1/2 inch brush, and that's the smallest one here. Use a little bit more of the cardboard, and because that is a little bit close to the edge on some parts, I may just use a bit of tape here. Shouldn't be too bad. No, I think we'll be right. If you wanted to, if you're scared your brush would go over the edge, then definitely go and tape all that off. You know what, guys? I think that it's a little bit off center. Just going to eyeball that again. You could measure it if you wanted to. We're going to use my eyes that God gave me. Oops, no, this is way off. What happened there? Slipped a bit. Okay. Now I've got a bit of black on the brush. I'm going to offload that in here, maybe a little bit more, work it into the bristles, and off we go. And just being gentle to start with because I have got a fair bit of paint on my brush. Oh, this one's going a little bit slower because I thought it would be quick because I'm going round and round. But maybe if I had a bigger brush, it might still work as well. But I want to be careful because I don't want this bleeding under the stencil. So the less paint you have on your brush, the better. So that's why we use a cardboard to offload as much paint as we can. And you will learn the hard way if you don't. Now, the other idea that if you're brand new to stenciling and all of it here, you can definitely use a piece of cardboard, you know, just grab it up. This is just literally my post pack from Essential Stencil, and I just use that to practice on. So if you've got a new technique that you're trying, even for those of you who've stenciled a lot before and maybe you haven't tried shadowing techniques, so you want to practice that. Practice on a piece of cardboard where it really doesn't matter, and you honestly do not waste a lot of paint. It's better to waste a little bit of paint on a practice than you know, doing it wrong on a board and having to sand it back and start again. Which there is that option, you know, it is just paint. You can sand it back and you can start again. Just make sure you've sanded it back to a really smooth surface because you don't want that showing up, those little ridges. Deanna said you need to practice. Good on you, girl. Yeah, on Amazon boxes, absolutely perfect for that. So this set is called Words and Numbers, I believe. So yeah, all the links to any of the ones that I'm using today. And this set, there was only 5 sets left. It's got the words and the numbers. So you've got these fun letters here, and you've also got these fun numbers as well. So they're great, and you can like tape off different numbers and just use that number on something. So say you had a favorite number, there's 0 right through to 9 on that little set there. If you had a favorite number, you could just tape off that number and put it in there. Maybe it's a house number, something like that. They're all different sizes, but I think even that would be fun to have on a signboard. A little bit more. You're so welcome, Pam. So don't forget to share the live, and if you did miss some of it, watch the replay if you want to know how we did the background for our boards, and comment the word replay while you're there because they will be giving away a prize to someone who's watching the replay within 24 hours after we have finished going live. The yellow and teal together look great, don't they? And after I finish this one, we'll be picking some winners because I have gone probably a little bit over time. Usually like to just leave it, we go for about an hour. So thanks for those of you who've stuck in the full hour. My goodness, you guys are amazing. Love you. All right, so there's our black. So that should have nice crisp lines because we've offloaded as much as we could and we've gone in nice little swirly motions around the letters. Okay, lifting that up gently so I don't want to peel the paint. And there we go, nice crisp lines on that one. So that's that there, and I think that will look really good with a band across here and painted in maybe say black on the other side, on this side of it. So I'll just hit that with the hairdryer and let that dry. But I will finish up the live here, and I will show you some of these. I'll show you pictures of these on my Facebook page. But you've got the idea now. So go forth and do likewise. Just do your own thing. Have some inspiration, but go paint the fun colours, all the fun things. I'm just going to pop this in here, get my brushes organised. But let me see. We're going to pick some winners now, and I will do this in a minute, but I want to make sure that that's completely dry. Let me just point the camera up so I can see you all, and I will just grab my projects that we worked on today. Oop, there we go. And we will look for some winners and announce the winners on our live in any minute now. Thank you for those who've joined and for those who've hung around for this hour of fun crafting. We really love it every time you do. We've done a couple of different designs. So we've done these boards. You can find these on my Amazon link that's in the affiliate link that's in the description of the live or in the pinned comment. This one using the transfers, and we've got a green background on there. Nice crisp lettering from the home set. And then we've got this from the Mardi Gras set. Now that's on sale today too, don't forget. And we stained the top, put a black background. We've used azure and a little star, a bright yellow from the Fusion range in that. And then we've used a cathedral taupe in the background here and gorgeous black writing for these fun words. And I'm going to put a black, I'm going to finish this top part in black. I'll tape it off. But we ran out of time for that one today. So Mary, your first time to meet me. It's so good to meet you virtually right here as we do. Thank you, Rhonda. Always beautiful comments from you. And thank you, new Rhonda, for watching. Brenda says that one's beautiful. Love the home transfer. I really like the home transfer too. All right, our winners are here. Our winners are here, and I missed it. Let's see. I wasn't seeing it on my phone, but I can see it right here on my laptop. So Debbie Thompson, Patty Hanson, and Diane Kent. We've got 3 lucky winners. Those are our winners tonight. Make sure you email Essential Stencil at the email that they've given you there in the comment where you've been pinned. And you can claim your $20 gift card. So let them know you were a winner on Sharon Hankins Live tonight. And these are the ones we've worked on today. So you can go back and watch the replay if you've missed it. And I'll see you again next week for another fun live DIY. Have a blessed Mother's Day for those of you who are mums. And for those of you who miss your mum this season, either she's passed or she's a long way away from you, my heart goes out to you all. I hope you still have a beautiful day, and I will see you next week. Bye.